Hello everyone, my name is Elspeth. You're watching the Planeswalker Pantheon. Today we are opening up a booster box of mystery boosters, but this is something a little bit different. These are the Convention Edition mystery boosters. Now, so the point of the Convention Edition mystery boosters were, at the time when they were released, was just say you're going to a convention, say like PAX, or you're going to GPs. These are the mystery boosters that you use to draft at those conventions. Of course, with COVID-19 happening and the pandemic, you know, those plans are kind of waylaid. So what Wizards have done is they've basically mass-printed the Convention Edition version of these mystery boosters so that people could experience Convention Edition boosters. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get into opening this and cracking these wonderful, wonderful packs. Now, these packs are kind of weird. There's no set rarity to them, so I'm just going to read out the rares as they come up. Also, because these are the Convention Edition boosters, they will have the interesting little test cards, which I will show you as they come through. Alright, so here is the first pack right here. So we've got, and like they're all cards basically from all different sets of Magic. Oh, we've got Vampire Nighthawk, nice classic. Crop Crasher, geez, there's some good memories here. Azuri's Archers, this is what, from the dual deck. Reflector Mage, Sigil of Valor. Hey, we've got our first rare here in Questing Feldergriff. So for 1 green, white, and a blue, get a creature Feldergriff. It's a 4/4. If you pay a green, Questing Feldergriff gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Target opponent puts a 1/1 green hippo creature token into play. If you pay the white, Feldergriff, Questing Feldergriff gains protection from black and from red until end of turn. Target opponent gains 2 life. Or if you pay the blue, it gains flying until end of turn, and target opponent may draw a card. So it's a cool little group huggy commander right there. Oh, we've also got a Cauldron of Souls. So for 5 mana, again, R5 tap, choose any number of target creatures. Each of those creatures gain persist until end of turn. And here's our first test card. So this is the thing that was unique about the convention boosters. They'd have these test cards basically. So this is Bucket List. So for 1 blue and a red, it's an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell of a type showing on card name, put a counter over that type and draw a card. If all 5 types on card name have counters on them, sacrifice and draw 1 more card. So that's kind of like the special thing about these boosters right here is these test cards. Alright, next up. So Questing Feldergriff and a Cauldron of Souls is not bad. Alright, so Resurrection, Dauntless Cathar, Compelling Argument, Augur of Bolas, Certain of Death. Hey, there's a Fatal Push, that's always nice to have in the collection. Molten Rain, Hugs from Mum. Hey, Crowd Goes Wild from Battlebond. Carthy Remnant, Thornwood Falls. Hey, we've got an Imperial Armor right there. Hey, and we've got a Living Death. So for 3 and 2 black, you get a sorcery. Each player exiles all creature cards from his or her graveyard, then sacrifices all creatures he or she controls, then puts all cards he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. And we've got a Lazier Goblin. So for a single red, you get a creature Goblin, it's a 2/1 with Motivate for 3 and a red. This creature can't attack or block unless you have paid its Motivate cost once. Motivate only as a sorcery. And when it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. Man, I won't lie to you, I thought when I first saw these test cards that they were like stickers that were just stuck on Magic cards, but no, they're actually printed right on there, which is an interesting little thing to note. Alright, next up. But yeah, this is like some really interesting stuff. I kind of wish I got the chance to draft this at a convention, you know, as per Wizards' intention for these, but cracking these as well for fun is just as good, I think. I'm just getting some weird memory flashbacks of some of these cards because they're from sets I've drafted in the past. Oh, we've got a Zealous Persecution. This is actually the Explorers of Ixalan artwork right there, which is cool. And Mystery Tome. Oh, Chatter the Squirrel. We saw this, I believe, printed for... No, this wasn't in Modern Horizons 2. I'm sorry, I'm completely wrong. Hey, we got a Gideon Jura right here. So for 3 and 2 white, you get a Planeswalker Gideon. 6 loyalty, +2 during target opponent's next turn. Creatures that player controls attack Gideon Jura if able. -2 to destroy a target tapped creature. And you can 0 Gideon to have him become a 6/6 human soldier that's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. This is from the Archenemy deck, I believe. And our test card is Large Pox. So for 4 black, you get a sorcery. Each player discards a card, then loses 1 life, then sacrifices an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, a land, a planeswalker, and a tribal permanent. Then exiles a card from their graveyard, then puts the top card of their library into their graveyard, then removes a card from a permanent they control, then gets a poison counter. Whew, that's a lot. So it's just basically a sort of like a super pox. So basically these were kind of like test ideas, I guess, for cards, which I believe I think I might be wrong in saying this, that one of these at least have actually been made into an actual functional black border card. I might be wrong about that. Hey, I love myself in a Johnny's Primate. Not a fan of this artwork personally because I love the original one so much. Hey, Water-Eye Witch. Of course, guitar. I'm trying to sort these out to commons, uncommons, and rares as much as I can. Hey, Burrow's Challenger, Automaton. Hey, I got a Belby's Portal. So for 5 mana, you get an artifact. As it comes into play, choose a creature type. 3 and tap, put a creature card of the chosen type from your hand into play. Huh, very good for tribal commander decks, I guess. Hey, speaking of good for commander decks, I've got Torment of Hailfire. So for X and 2 black, you get a sorcery. Repeat the following process X times. Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. And we've got our test card here of Lantern of Undersight. So for 1 mana, you got an artifact. You draw cards from the bottom of your library instead of the top of your library. Huh. Gotta love underdecking. Now, apparently the artwork was actually done by Wizards employees, or just like random people that they get to art. I think it's mostly Wizards employees. Some of them who not necessarily knew how to do artwork for Magic, or like really were familiar with Magic at all. Congregate. Hey, Mana War is a classic. Oh, Sahana Ledgewalker. I wonder if this still gets played in Pauper. Bank the Sands. Pillar of the Sleepless. Cathodian, Flame Shot. Hey, we got Nin the Pain Artist. So for a blue and a red, you get a legendary creature of the Dalkin Wizard. It's a 1/1 with X blue and red and tap. Nin the Pain Artist deals X damage to target creature. That creature's control draws X cards. And we've got a Domesticated Watercore. So it's a land, it enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it for blue or a black. And for a blue and a black, until end of turn, card name becomes an equipment artifact with equip 2. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Huh. Cool. So it's an artifact creature land? Like, I love these test cards because it kind of gives you a little insight into the minds of, you know, the people who make this wonderful game. Induced Despair, I've never seen this. Oh, it's from the dual deck, on the dual decks. Interesting. Gengar. Oh, got Curse of Opulence. It's always fun. Rip Tiger. Jesus, some good memories here. Curious Followers, some good memories. Hey, Skull Clamp. Who doesn't love a Skull Clamp? Got old Bone Splitter. Hey, we've got a Tireless Tracker. So for 2 and a green, you get a creature, Human Scout. It's a 3/2. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, you investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. And we've got Queen of Beetles as our test card. So for 3 and a red, you get a creature insect with 33 with haste. The stack is now first in, first out instead of last in, first out. Huh, so it basically just flips the stack on its head? Cool. Sorry, I'm just like thinking about like the possibilities of that. So you've got to play basically, you're going to be playing first. So basically everything resolves from the bottom up. Cool. Sorry, that just bowled my mind a little bit. We've got Hamlet Captain. Manglehorn's always nice. Ochre Assassin. Crystal Chimes from one of the commander decks. Hey, Release the Ants. If I remember correctly, this is used as a win con in a legacy deck. I think I remember vaguely seeing this. Hey, I got a Sliver Heil board. So for the full Wurberg, the white, the blue, the black, the red, and the green, you get a legendary creature Sliver. It's a 5/5. Slivers you control have Indestructible. And we have a test card here is Bombardment. So for a single red, you get a sorcery. Until end of turn, cards you own that aren't on the battlefield lose all card types, costs, names, and abilities, and become red sorcery with named Missile that cost red. With Missile deals 2 damage to any target. Cool. I kind of want to see this implemented in Blackboard. I don't know how they'll do it, but I kind of want to see it done. Like, that's a real interesting design concept, actually. Aura of Silence. Hey, Silver Girl Adept by Magali Velnov. I love this artwork. Abyssin's Pilgrim. Hey, Blightning. Very Conclave, the blue creature land. Hey, we've got a Nullspine Dragon. So for 5/2 red, 5 and 2 red, you get creature dragons of 7/5 with flying. When it comes into play, you may discard your hand and draw cards equal to the damage dealt to target opponent this turn. Hey, we've also got a Cranco Mob Boss. So for 2 and 2 red, you get a legendary creature Goblin Warrior. It's a 3/3. Tap to create X plus X 1/1 red Goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. Ooh, we've got a Yawgmoth Sentiment. Now, apparently, I'll have to double check this, but this is actually one of the test cards that actually had its art changed, because now, apparently that Phyrexian is actually a language you can actually translate. This whole text actually means anything. So, in the comments, if you are well versed in Phyrexian, could you please put in the comments what that text is? So Yawgmoth's Testament. So for 2 and a black, you get a sorcery. Until end of turn, you may play face-up cards you own from exile. If a card would be put into your graveyard or exile from anywhere this turn, you may put it on the bottom of your library instead. Cool. But yeah, if you know what that Phyrexian reads, please, by all means, put in the comments and tell me what that means. That'd be some cool information there. Ooh, Dismantling Blow, nice little card for Commander. Ooh, Animate Dead, who does not love a little animating dead? Martial Glory, Call a Sign. Ooh, we've got a Dominus of Fealty here. So for 5, is it Hybrid? Either Creature, Spirit Avatar, it's a 4/4 with Flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may gain control of target opponent until end of turn. If you do, untap it and it gains haste until end of turn. We've got the older Boom Pile. So for 4 mana, get an artifact, tap, flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy all non-land permanents. And here we got the Bear with Set's Mechanics. So for 1 and a green, you get a creature bear. It's a 2/2 with Vigilance, and it has Aggressive. During your turn, if there is an additional combat phase after the first, and only creatures with Aggressive may attack during it. Cool. That's an interesting mechanic right there. Bear with Set's Mechanic. That's a good one. Alright, so Soul Parry, Youthful Knight, Flash Freeze. Oh, Well Wisher, for those who love your elf decks. Basking Rootweiler, who doesn't love a good little free madness. Treacherous Terrain, which I believe is from one of the commander decks. Crusher, Core Chant. Oh, we've got a Sewer Nemesis right here. So for 3 and a black, you get a creature horror. It's a Star. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a player. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in the chosen player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. And our test card is Wrath of Sod. So for 2 green and white, you get a sorcery. Put a mana bond counter on all creatures. They lose all other abilities and become lands. Cool. Okay, so it doesn't kill them, but it just turns them all into lands? That's... Okay, and they basically turn into rainbow lands. That's pretty neat. Huh. That's a real interesting take on a green-white Wrath of God. It doesn't kill them, but just turns them into lands, which is kind of scary at the same time, but still interesting in its own way. Got a Sarah's Embrace, Candlelight Vigil. Sorry. Just some of these concepts for these test cards is just really interesting to me. Oh, we've got Enchanted Evenings. So for 3 and 2 Azorius Hybrid, we get an enchantment. All permanents are enchantments in addition to their other types. Hey, we've got a Torian Mauler as well. So for 2 and a radiated creature, shapeshifted to 2/2 with Changeling. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Torian Mauler. It's form of the Mould Drifter. So for 4 and a blue, you get a tribal enchantment elemental. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards. You may cast creature cards from your hand as though they were the card Mould Drifter. And I don't know if you can quite see this, but the card that the card's been tested on, it's actually Mould Drifter itself. I kind of want to go through some of these later and see if I can identify, if possible, the cards that are underneath it, because that is very obviously Mould Drifter with how that's stuck. I wonder if there's some sort of I guess like a gallery that can identify what the cards are underneath the test. Ooh, Inspector Thraben is a good classic. I love a good Inspector Thraben. Abrax. Ooh, Unreef and Broker with a different set symbol. Baloth Null. Ashnod's Altar is always nice. Arna Sanctuary. This is one I've never seen before. When you upkeep, you control a blue or black permanent. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If you control a blue permanent and a black permanent, that creature gets +5/+5. Okay. Interesting. Oh, we've got a Prey Caesar Dragon. This is a card I don't think I've ever seen before. So 4 and 2 radiant creature dragons are 4 with Devour 2. When it attacks, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on Prey Caesar Dragon. I think that's been Plane Chase? Huh. Hey, we've got Sliv Mizzet Hivemind. So for 2 blue and 2 red, legendary creature Dragon Sliver. Slivers you control have flying, and whenever you draw a card, this creature deals 1 damage to any target and tap to draw a card. Okay, this card is very kind of obviously on a Niv Mizzet of some kind. You can kind of tell, I think, from the bottom there. I think that's the Gate Crashes Niv Mizzet. I might be wrong there in identifying that, but I kind of want to see if there is some sort of a like that sort of archive, I guess, of what cards were used for the test cards. So I imagine when they're doing test cards, they want to stick it on top of cards that have very similar abilities. Lady Claim. Killing Fiend's nice. The Pauper, Death Reap Rituals, some good stuff there. Aether Hub. Oh, Defense of the Heart. So for 3 and a green, you get an enchantment. During your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, put those creatures into play, and shuffle your library afterwards. This is actually a really cool card, actually. Got a Commit to Memory. So for 3 and a blue, you get an instant. Put target spell or non-land permanent onto its owner's library, second from the top. And then Memory, for 4 and 2 blue, you get a Sorcerer with Aftermath, so you can cast this spell only from your graveyard, then exile it. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. We've got an Impatient Iguana, so for 1 and a red, you get a creature Lizard Wizard to 2/1. If it's in your opening hand and not the starting player, you may reveal it. If you do, you become the starting player. There's a 2-up with haste. That's a good one. That's a good one, that one. God, I wish I could just pick a Magic designer's mind and what goes in their mind when they design cards. Oh, Temporal Fissure. Hey, Gary. Spark Spitter, Vent Sentinel. Hey, Thrashy Bee. Whoop. Who doesn't love good Thrashy Bee? Armadillo Cloak, Sandstone Oracle, Brimstone Dragon. Hey, we've got an Urza's Rage. So for 2 and a red, you get an instant. You can kick it for 8 and a red. It can't be countered by spells or abilities. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player. If it was kicked, it does 10 damage to that creature or player, and the damage can't be prevented. Hey, we've got Barry's Land. It's a basic land cloud, types to add colorless. I wonder if this is the impetus for what wastes were originally meant to be. It gives you domain +1. Oh, it does give you domain +1, because domain is if you control all 5 basic land types. Because this is a different basic land type, it gives you an additional 1. Okay. I wonder what had them design this. That one I wonder. maybe it was like when they were trying to design ways and try to come up with a design for it, and maybe they realized that giving a +1 domain might have been too powerful, so they decided just to keep it as like no basic land type, like a specific super type. Opportunity. Hey, Tech Edge. Everyone loves a good Tech Edge. Hey, we've got a Dungrove Elder. So for 2 and a green, you get a creature, Tree Folk. It's a star side with hexproof. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of forests you control. And we've got an Odric Lunarch Marshal. So for 3 and a white, you get a legendary creature, Human Soldiers for 3/3. At the beginning of each combat, creatures you control gain first strike until end of turn if a creature you control has first strike. The same is true for flying, death touch, double strike, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, reach, skulk, trample, and vigilance. And we've also got a Biting Remark. So for 3 and a blue, you get a creature elemental to 3/3, Scrycast, and flying. Scrycast. If you see this card while scrying, you may reveal it and cast it by paying 0. Cool. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can see how that can work. Huh. Sorry, like, every time I read one of these test cards, I just start thinking about, like, sort of the design space that goes into it. Oh, Days. Memory Days and Memory Lapse. That'll make a control player someone really happy about this pack. Cartouches. Alright, so we've got Millstone, Darathi, Mind Ripper. 3 and a black for shadow, minion with shadow, sacrifice. Huh, cool. Hey, we got an Alishnorn Grand Cenobite. So for 5 and 2 white, you're a legendary creature Praetor. It's a 4/7 with vigilance. Other creatures you control get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. And we've got Plane Merge Elf as our test card here. So for 4 and a green, get a creature Elf Warrior to 3/3. It has Landship. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may reveal it. If you do, create a 1/1 green Elf Warrior creature token. Kinfall. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it shares a creature type with card name, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Huh. That's cool. That's actually kind of neat. Like, so they've swapped over, I'm assuming, kinship and landfall. I guess is what it's I'm assuming is what it's referencing. Huh. Oh, got a Wall of Omens, always nice to see. Call to Heal from Battle Bond. Hideous End, I've never seen this card before. It's another dual deck card, I'm surprised, actually. Price of Progress. Shipwreck Singer. Crystal Ball. Hey, we've got Hurricane. So for X and a green sorcery, deals X damage to each creature with flying in each player. Hey, we've got an Alhammer's Archive too. So for 5 mana, you get a legendary artifact. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. If you would draw a card, except for the first one you draw in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Jasonian Isle. Land creature island fish. 3/4. Card name is in the spell. It's affected by summoning since it's blue and it has tap to add blue. Card name enters the battlefield tapped. It doesn't untap during an untap step. If you give your upkeep, you may pay blue. If you do untap card name. Huh. Okay. So it enters play tapped. You play blue to untap it. Doesn't untap. Okay. So it's kind of an alternate take on creature lands. But they're very slow. Sorry, I'm just, like, my mind's just going. Ooh, Core Firewalker. Hey, Trinket Mage. Go for the throat. Some nice classics here. Enthralling Victor, Snapping Sailback, Borderland Ranger. Nice classic. Hey, Putrefy from, I believe, the Golgari Guild Kits. I've never seen this artwork before. That's cool. That's a good one. Hey, Great Furnace. Timely Reinforcements, a good old classic from modern from times gone by. Hey, Boros Reckoner. So for 3 Boros Hybrid, you get a creature Minotaur Wizard. It's a 3/3. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. And for a single red, you can give it first strike until end of turn. Alright, so Corrosion Adaptation. So, single green for enchantment aura, enchant creature. It has Storm. When you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before this turn. Okay. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0 and has Vigilance. This is a weird set of abilities to put on an enchantment. Like, yeah, it's great if your creature's already attacking. I mean, it's cheap, I guess. Sorry, I love looking at these test cards because they kind of give you a lot to think about. Sorry, because I can just feel my mind just sort of wheeling and dealing, I guess. Base Breaker Balagad. Hey, Winding Constrictor, I remember this in Standard. Milken. Hey, Squirrel Wrangler, this is now in Modern, I believe. Or unless I'm thinking of another Squirrel Mob, not the Wrangler. 2 and 2 green, get a creature druid, it's a 2/2. 1 and green, sacrifice a land, put two 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens into play. 1 and green, sacrifice a land. All squirrels get +1/+1 until end of turn. Cool. Hey, we've got Daretti Scrap Savant. So for 3 and a ready, get a Planeswalker Daretti. Starts at 3 loyalty. +2, discard up to 2 cards and draw that many cards. -2, sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. -10, you get an emblem with whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. He can be your commander. Enroll in the Coalition. So 3 and a white enchantment. You are a flag bearer. Oh yeah, okay, so it references the flag bearers from other sets. While choosing targets as part of casting a spell or activating an ability, your opponent must choose at least one flag bearer, if able. Okay, that's kind of interesting, actually. Huh, okay. Yeah, okay, I can see how that works. Alright. Alright, next up. Another path for exile to put into the trade binder. Circular Logic. Ooh, Desperate Ravens. Azra Oddsmaker from Battle Bond. I kind of wish I opened a box of that set. Now they're expensive. Bronze's Monument. Okay, so we're Kragenwick Cremator. So for 2 and 2 ready, get a creature, Giant Shaman. It's a 5/4. When it comes into play, discard a card at random. If you discard a creature card this way, it deals damage equal to that card's power to target player. Hey, we've got a Wheel of Fate, so it's a sorcery with no mana cost. You can suspend it for 1 and a red. Each player discards his or her hand, then draws 7 cards. Alright, so we've got Frenemy of the Guild Pack. This is actually a cool bit of artwork, actually. So it's a 3/2 creature spirit. It has protection from enemy-coloured, multicolored. Multicolored. So this creature can be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything that's 2 enemy colors such as blue and green. Okay. Yeah. I can gravitate to that. Alright. Next up. Alright, let's see. Alright, so we've got a Creeping Mould, Plux Castle Frogling, hey, Ornithopter, Centaur Glade, oh, Chasm Skulker. So for 2 and a blue, get a creature Squid Horror. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Chasm Skulker. When Chasm Skulker dies, put a X 1/1 blue creature squid tokens with Ironwalk onto the battlefield that X is the number of counters on Chasm Skulker. Blood Poet. So 2 and a black creature vampire cleric. It's a 3/2. It has Spark. Activate Spark abilities by spending or giving yourself Spark counters. Activate only 1 Spark ability per turn and only as a sorcery. +1 target card name gains lifelink until end of turn. -3 target opponent discards a card, you gain life equal to the converted mana cost. Okay, that's interesting. Huh. Alright, next up. Bonds of Faith. Oh, shenanigans. A little bit of that. Domesticated Hydra. Imperious Perfect. Bituminous Blast. So if we were to quit... Hey, we've got Hakon Stronggold Scourge. So for 1 and 2 black, the legendary creature zombie knights are 3/3. Now you play Hakon Stormgold Scourge from your graveyard, but not from anywhere else. As long as it's in play, you may play knight cards from your graveyard. When it is put into a graveyard from play, you lose 2 life. We've also got, Nissa, Voice of Zendika. I remember this being a big player back in the day. So, for 1 and 2 green, you get a Planeswalker Nissa. Starts with 3 loyalty. +1, put an 0/1 green plant creature token onto the battlefield. -2, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. -7, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of lands you control. Pure Steel Angel. Okay, so for 8 mana, get an artifact creature Angel. It's a 4/4 with flying and indestructible. When it enters the battlefield, exile all artifacts that aren't colorless. When it deals combat damage to a player, you get an emblem with, if you would lose the game, instead your life total becomes 20. Shuffle your graveyard into your library, you lose all poison counters, you lose this emblem. Cool. Alright, this is the second last pack actually. This pack has actually gone pretty quick. I didn't realize how much more we had left here. Alright, so we've got Goblin War Chief, Fusion Elemental, Break of Armies. Oh, we've got Asceticism. This is a nice classic as well. So, for 3 and 2 green, you get an enchantment. Creatures you control can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. 1 and green to regenerate a target creature. Hey, Champion of the Parish. I used to use this in Soul Sisters, actually. So, for a single white, you get a creature human soldier, it's a 1/1. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Parish. You're in command. 1 and a white, sorcery. Choose target creature you can own and control. That creature becomes your commander. Any other commanders you have are no longer your commander. Alright, that's interesting. I'd imagine it'd be in a commander set, obviously. Alright, this is the last pack, actually. I'll move this out of the way. Alright, so Cliffside Lookout, Gush, Deep Analysis, oh, Goblin Matron, Fiery Temper, Hidden Stockpile, Mirror Retriever, ooh, Pestilence. We've got a Coveted Jewel, so for 6 mana, get an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Tap to add 3 mana of any one color. Whenever 1 or more creatures an opponent controls attack you and aren't blocked, that draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel, untap it. And we've got an Innocuous Insect. So for 1 and 2 blue, get a creature Eldrazi Insect. It's a 2/1 with buyback, with flash, flying, and when you cast a spell, draw a card. I could see that actually happening. I could see that being a creature. Cool. That's cool. Huh. So 3 mana, you get a 2/1 flash fire. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. That's perfectly fine. And then if you happen to pay 5, if you draw it in like a later point of the game, you can just buy it back. Cool. I can see that actually existing. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little run through some Convention Edition mystery boosters. Don't forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe. It lets people know that I exist and that I'm making content that I hope that you guys are enjoying. You can find us at the Planeswalker Pantheon, where we are trying to get more content up there, even though it's just mostly been a place for me to put videos up these days. You can also follow me on Twitter. Links are down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.